shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Page 128. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos and welcome to all of you. It's great to see you. We were away on vacation last week in Wales, in the UK. We flew back earlier this week, and boy, are our arms tired. I know, I get a laugh from you. I know I get that.
I like that, actually.
I didn't even deliver it well. You know, I try.
But it's an old standard.
It's an old
It's
standard.
like you can't go wrong with that one.
In any event, we had a great time. I know some people have been traveling already this summer. Some plan to travel later this month or in August. Whatever you're doing this summer, I hope it's a very good one and a very safe and healthy one. I want to give a special welcome to the Shaheen family, who are our most recent members here at CBS. And you have two kids, right? What are their names again? Oliver and Cheyenne. Yes. So we're looking forward to getting to know you as well as them. And they're how old again? 3 and 5. So we'll be looking forward to getting to know them in the weeks, months, and hopefully years ahead. We also, another shout out to David, who I believe was a choir director here at one point, correct? Not you, David Mendelson, the David behind you.
This was the choir.
Oh, you were the choir back then, okay. And David, how long has it been since you left Napa?
9 years.
And you're back for a visit?
Just through the weekend, came in Tuesday morning.
Okay, well, good to see you, and I see we have some other guests who are with us, so great to see all of you from the wilds of Sacramento as well. So we're going to start by lighting our Shabbat candles, and I'd like to invite up Allison and Norbert Samuelson to do that honor, and you can follow along on page 120. So what did I say? I had a professor, Norbert Samuelson. He was a very prominent theologian. I meant Allison and Norbert Frost. But there is, you could Google it, Norbert Samuelson, very prominent professor.
I still don't believe you.
Took me back 25 years.
It's that jet lag.
Yeah, jet lag.
That's
right.
what you can, you know. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahalak ner shel Shabbos.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Norbert is not the most common name, so you'll have to forgive that mistake. We're going to continue on page 142 with the singing of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom השרת מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא צאכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא
The Chatzi Kaddish is on page 144. Please rise. Just a quick word about the Chatzi Kaddish. It's written in Aramaic, and I think some of you know that Aramaic is the language of the Talmud. The characters are the same as Hebrew, and some of the words are very similar, but they're also very, very different. This was one of the languages that was widely spoken in Israel 2,000 years ago, and it was a language that was used in Babylonia when they composed the Talmud 1,500 years ago, mostly by the scholarly class, but other people, including merchants, probably spoke it as well, and it has worked its way into the prayer book, even though the majority of the prayers are in Hebrew. So Gordon, would you lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish?
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
Page 146.
Lai la 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 Lai la 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 Lai la 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 Lai la 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 Lai la 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 Lai la 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please remain standing as we turn to page 149, and please join me in English at the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 151. Please join me at the top as well. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivdecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam la'od ayadecha v'hayu latotafot bein einecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tiskaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kidoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Micha Mocha is on page 158.
We're going to do a melody that should be familiar to most of us, but not necessarily with the Micha Mocha text. So, Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai Micha Mocha Nedar Ba'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Osef Eleh Nora Tehilot Osef Eleh Malchutecha Rahuvanecha Okei Ayam Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Zeli Anu v'Amru Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai kamocha nedar bakodesh Nora tehilot ose fele Nora tehilot ose fele.
That's a beautiful melody. What is that from originally?
The water is wide.
And
It's a
who's the song-
traditional, well, it's traditional, I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's probably written by that famous anonymous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful melody. The famous Anonymous. It's like most of the prayer book, the famous Anonymous.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to continue on page 161, and I invite you to please join me at the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim.
We're going to start on the top of page 161 and then for a couple lines and then move over to top of 160. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Askivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. We go to the bottom of page 161. These words to shelter us were added, so if you don't have it, you're not losing your mind. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. We're going to do that one more time. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen.
turn now to the Amidah on page 164. In keeping with our minhag, our custom here at CBS, we will chant the first three blessings together, and then I invite you to continue praying on your own and in your own way, and to be seated after you have finished. But for now, please rise, page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei v'Nehem, L'man Shemo be'ahava, Melech Hoser u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mechalchel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol b'rachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayeh emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neman atah hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon, l'chol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, l'chol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al tasim leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
At this point in our service, we pause to think of those in need of healing on this Shabbat, healing of body, healing of spirit, and healing of heart. And we ask God to bestow the bracha, the blessing of refuah shlema, full and complete healing to the following men and women from our community or those known and loved by our congregation. Lynn Feingold, Ilana Massey, Kevin Brackett, Michelle Camisia, Joshua Hyman, Diane Butler, Elsa Loach, Jesse Friedman, Beverly Eigner, Ed Eston, Marjorie Gilberg, Michael Blend, and Jim Mates. And if anyone has a name of someone in need of healing on this Shabbat and would like to share it with the community, I invite you to please do so. The Misha Barak prayer is on page 511.
Misha Berach Avotenu Yekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Kor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom again. Good Shabbos to everyone, and welcome to our new members, to those returning after a hiatus, and to those who are just visiting from out of town. There is a lot in the news these days that is very heavy, very serious. The political situation in this country, the Supreme Court decisions, the ongoing war in Ukraine. There's so much that is so heavy and so serious that I wanted to offer a little comic relief tonight. And the Torah portion for this week is called Balak. And it is a very strange story and one of the only truly comic stories in the entire Torah. In fact, a lot of Bible scholars think it was a folk tale, a humorous folk tale that worked its way into the Hebrew Scriptures, and we'll be studying this in depth tomorrow morning during Torah study. Now, in this Torah portion, in the book of Numbers, the Israelites, the people of Israel, are camped at an eastern entrance to the land of Canaan, in the steppes of Moab, across the Jordan River from the city of Jericho. So they would have been probably in modern-day Jordan, if this were today, just on the other edge of the Jordan River in the city of Jericho. Has anyone been to Jericho before? You know how close Jordan is from Jericho. And word of the might of the people of Israel, their great power, has reached the indigenous populations, including the Canaanites, who live in the land of Israel. And they're very concerned. They're scared. They're scared of the Jewish people. Now, one of the leaders of these indigenous peoples is a man named Balak, who's the namesake of this Torah portion. He's the king of Moab. And he sort of subcontracts a pagan soothsayer, a kind of wizard or magician, to curse the Israelites in order to impede their further progress. So he contracts with this strange soothsayer to stop the people of Israel, to put a curse on them. And it's not clear from the story whether that soothsayer, whose name is Bilam, is a legitimate prophet or just a charlatan. We don't really know from the story. Now, when Bilam claims that he is in direct communication with God, we don't really know that that's true because his behavior and his words seem to suggest otherwise. In one of the scenes in this Torah portion, he travels with his donkey and he beats his innocent donkey during their journey to the land of Canaan. And the donkey, and this is one of the humorous elements of the story, the donkey talks back to him. The donkey actually speaks in this Torah portion and scolds him for his behavior, criticizes him for beating him. It's a very comic scene, very poignant scene. And then later, this soothsayer offers sacrifices and tries 3 different times to curse the Israelites. But each time he tries to curse the Israelites, God twists his words so that Bilam winds up blessing the Israelites instead. And one of those blessings that we're going to look at tomorrow morning is actually the Ma Tovu prayer, which Jews chant or read every single morning. Ma Tovu ohalecha Yaakov umishkenotecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Israel, your dwelling places, O Jacob. It's uttered by this pagan soothsayer, but it's worked its way into the Jewish liturgy every morning. So there are elements of Bilam and what he tries to do that would seem to suggest he may not be all that he's presented himself to be. He seems more a pawn than a prophet, more a con artist than a true messenger of the divine will. Now, this unusual story, a kind of ancient folk tale, as I suggested, raises important questions about authenticity and falsehood and illegitimacy, a topic that remains relevant for us today. Many people today are talking about what is true, what is false, what is legitimate, and what is illegitimate, particularly among our leaders. What is the difference between a true and a false prophet? What distinguishes someone like Bilam from a figure like Isaiah or Jeremiah or one of the other biblical prophets? What separates a false Messiah like Shabbatai Tzvi in the Jewish tradition or Jim Jones from years ago from a genuine Messiah, from the genuine article? And what divides an authentic leader from an imposter? I know many people in this country felt that for many years we had someone who was a leader who was not really a real leader. All of these questions relate to the issue of authenticity. How do we know when a person is the genuine article or simply a fraud, like Bilam might be? What are the criteria so we are not deceived by them? Many rabbinic commentators have said that the only way we can really distinguish between a person who is legitimate and authentic and one who is illegitimate and a fraud is if they exhibit tamimut, this quality of integrity. A person, as the rabbis say, whose mouth and hand are one. And what I think they mean by mouth and hand being one is that it's a person who not only talks the talk, but also walks the walk. Or someone who has within them the qualities of honesty, trustworthiness, and ethical principles. This is what we need in our prophets, in our messiahs, in our leaders, and this is what we all pray that our leaders and our elected officials will eventually begin to display as they govern this country and as they try to guide us into the next chapter of our lives. That is what we hope for. That is what we crave: authenticity, legitimacy, and integrity. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. We are going to continue now with the Aleinu prayer on page 586, and I'd like to ask you to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. I would like to invite back to the Bima Allison Frost, board member Allison Frost, an all-around wonderful woman, who is going to share some important announcements with us tonight.
Shabbat Shalom. Tomorrow morning, please join the rabbi for Torah study in person and on Zoom. Zoom's been great, so everybody please join him tomorrow. On Monday, July 18th, the Soul Sisters will be meeting on Zoom, also to plan the book options for the coming year. So bring all your good ideas and please join the Soul Sisters. Shabbat on July 22nd, we're having a special guest speaker, Aaron Alter-Star, sharing his experience in Ukraine with the ONIG sponsored by Richard Zitter. So that should be a very interesting and dynamic Shabbat. August 5th, please join Rabbi Goldstein and Gordon Lustig and special guest Napa Police Department Chief Gonzalez. And big event that you've heard a lot about is August 7th, L'chaim. Huge energy and time and been put into this event, and we hope that you will all join us and invite everybody that you know in the community, outside the community. Should be a fantastic and memorable event. And you can get tickets, as you know, through Eventbrite. Saturday, August 13th, my husband's and mine 44th anniversary, but that's not the little event here. But at 10:30, we're honored to celebrate Jonah Slater Lewis's bar mitzvah, online and also in person. So that's a beautiful thing to happen here. And on Shabbat, on August 19th, we will have Elena Wilmert speaking on her experience this summer with Hands for Peace, and an ONIG sponsored by the Cohen-Wilmer family. So we'd also like to give warm wishes to this week's birthdays and anniversaries. Happy birthday to Stephen Brower, Iona Matsisu, I don't think I pronounced that correctly, Mark Epstein, Rachel Bronk, Josh Slater, Larry Posner, Sherry Kohos, Jenny Schuley, Judy Nystrom, and Carly Harvey. And happy anniversary to Michael and Lauren Shevlin, it's their 46th. To Gary Lieberman and Judy Dumont, their 28th year. And Melvin Cohen and Lauren Fingerson, their 22nd. Thank you.
We have quite a busy summer for a relatively small congregation. A lot going on and a lot of special Friday night events, and of course L'chaim, which is not only a high-profile, very fun and exciting event, but it's also a fundraiser. So hopefully you'll support our community. As we near the end of our service, our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us, those who have died both recently and in seasons past. We remember and honor those who have died during the past 12 months. Arnold Trombler, Erica Cornelison, Gladys Shubin, Richard Magano, Clark Smith, Stephanie Rab Axner, David Ernesto Kaplan, Pat Pate, Annette Goldberg, Maggie Sherman, Sandra Banco-Fichtenberg, Nicholas Huff, George Montano, Dean Wilson, Norman Charney, David Alpert, Renee Munoz, and Michael Kassan. We also honor the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Bill Chiat, Jack Heeger, Helen Shevlin, Nina Storm, Jane Goldstrom, Clara Freed, Rosalie Hyman, Rhoda Greendorfer Kapchan, Abe G. Frank, and Harry Pastkan. And if anyone has a name they wish to share, I invite you to please do so. The mourner's Kaddish is up. Did you have a name you want to add?
Yes, my father passed away.
Okay, I'm sorry. And his name? We continue now with the mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah be'alma divrach herotei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael b'gala uv'izman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudshah b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama Rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all those in mourning and comfort to all those who are bereaved. And let us all say, amen. Please be seated. We conclude with our final song, and then we're going to do Kiddush and Motzi together. Usually, Gordon finds a song that matches thematically what I talk about in my Devar Torah, but tonight's Devar Torah was about a talking donkey and a pagan soothsayer. So even someone as talented as you, I'm not sure how you're going to connect this song with those ideas, but give it a shot. or just sing something else.
Okay, I'm usually not speechless, but it's not how we rehearsed it. Well, I was looking through the book, and I didn't really find. I did find something just as far as positive change in the world. So, and something we've done, page 652 on Nivyata. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata az yavohu kvar kulam. Amru et zekodem lefanai zelo mishane. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata ninase mehatchala. Yeh lanu ra, ein davar ze lo nora. Amru et zekodem lefanai ze lo mishane. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata az yavohu kvar kulam. Amru et zekodem lefanai zelo mishane. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Et ha'olam. Et ha'olam.
Please rise. And if you would, please turn to page 123. We are going to chant the Kiddush together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitchanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techila lemikraye kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom.